Hello everyone and welcome to the World Class Stand podcast. Our special guest today is Jermaine Beckford. He appeared for Leeds, Everton, Leicester and Preston and was also a Jamaican international. Today we're going to be talking about his career. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you want to get involved in the debate, drop a comment in the comments section. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button to help support the channel. Jermaine, thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, lads. Appreciate it.
Can you just tell us a bit about your product first of all, Supernova?
Yeah, Supernova Living. So we've it's a vegan wellness brand. The reason we started it off is because all the protein powders I was taking while I was a football player were ruining my stomach, giving me loads of issues. I was feeling lethargic, tired, etc. So we decided, my wife and I decided to develop our own one. So we stripped everything back. Super simple. There's 10, 11 ingredients in there, but all the ingredients in there are beneficial to the human body. It's not just filled with artificial colours, gums, flavours, preservatives, sugars or anything like that. And every ingredient we've got in there is therapeutic level. So it's enough to make an actual difference to the body as well. You know, things like black maca, which is to help support the male prostate, red maca in the women's one for hormone balancing, gut health, psyllium husk, which helps the gut feel fuller for longer. There's a whole host of incredible ingredients in there. Ashwagandha, which is one of my personal favorites. If you're feeling stressed and you go to a naturopathic nutritionalist or somewhere like that, they will prescribe a certain amount of a certain milligram of ashwagandha to you to help reduce stress by up to 70% as well. And we've got that in every single scoop. So it's an incredible powder, an all-round wellness powder to make you feel great. The longer you take it, the better you feel. And we absolutely love it. Take it every single day. So fellas,
yep,
I've got a couple of gifts for you.
Thank you very much. Well, I know I can't wait to try it. But if the people watching want to try it as well, where can they find your product to?
Supernovaliving.com. We are also in a whole host of cafes, restaurants. Just type in Supernova Living, you'll find it.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff.
We'll drop a link and a couple of bits as well on there.
Yep. We'll also leave a link in the description as well of this video, so we'll link it to the products.
Trust us, you won't regret it.
What is a world-class player, and how do you define a world-class player?
A world-class player for me is somebody that every single football player, not football fan, football player, looks up to, appreciates, respects, and we know. You know, sometimes there's something magical about them, and you could just tell. They're just cut from a different cloth. Household names. One of my all-time favourites, and I think a name that would resonate not just with football players, but with football fans as well, Ronaldinho.
Oh, yeah.
World class.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
World class. He could do things that nobody else could do. Nobody else has ever seen. Ronaldo, R9 Ronaldo, the Brazilian one.
Yeah.
With like the little...
Yeah.
Him as well. He was one of my idols growing up, incidentally, because he had everything. Just quick, powerful, skillful, score goals, left foot, right foot, head. But everybody, it doesn't matter who he was up against, you just look into their eyes. Me as a football fan, I was looking into the eyes of the opposition, the defenders, and they were scared. They were scared. They were already intimidated by the reputation of R9, of Ronaldinho, of Bebeto.
The fear factor is a big thing in football, isn't it?
It's huge because it takes your mind off of your game. So all of your strengths, you're not focusing on them anymore. You're thinking, oh no, he's quick. I'm not as quick as him. So you're focusing more on your weaknesses rather than, I'm not worried about what he's got to offer because I know how good I am. I've got enough to stop this guy. I'll be honest, not many people can stop those guys. But like the reputation was something that I feel creates those world-class players.
I remember a performance against Man United, actually, Old Trafford, Ronaldo, at Real Madrid.
Unbelievable.
So, I think he scored
Did he get a hat-trick?
I think he might have,
And I don't think
he wasn't fully fit either.
No, it wasn't his peak.
No. But the finishing was laces, outside the box, brilliant.
Yeah.
So, and this is something else that I love as well. I love watching the behind the scenes clips of these players. Maradona, there's loads, obviously, since the passing of Maradona, lots of clips from behind the scenes have come out about himself, Pele, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, all of these guys. Gianfranco Zola was another one that I couldn't take my eyes off him when he was training. And just seeing the things that they do, it's repetition, but they treat training as if it's a match situation. So there could be 40,000 fans around the training ground and they don't see or hear anybody else. It's just, I'm focused on me against you, striker against goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put the ball into the bottom corner. I'm going to put the ball into the top corner. I'm going to place the ball in this. But the manner in which they did it, it was more, they weren't practicing. It was like they were in the FA Cup final. It was like they were in the Champions League final. It's like the World Cup final. They made sure that every single shot they had was hit with purpose. And I think that's the difference. That's the difference. They don't mess around. They don't play football. They do football properly.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it, actually, I think.
Yeah, we spoke to Neville Southall recently, and he was talking about what you was describing there, about the cat and mouse nature between the goalkeeper and the striker. What is it about those? Because you do see those elite level strikers where, like Henry used to do it, freeze the goalkeeper, and as soon as the goalkeeper stopped, it's a goal.
Yep.
What is that kind of, those mind games? Obviously, you only get a few chances a game sometimes as well, and having to literally take that moment. What's it like being that kind of pressure scenario?
Do you know what's interesting, right? The quicker you move, the slower everything becomes. So when you're, like for myself, I scored a couple of goals here where I incidentally picked the ball up from this side, ran the full length of the pitch at full pace and scored in the far corner, and that was against Chelsea. But when I picked the ball up and I managed to find my way past all the defenders and I was one-on-one with Petr Cech, I'm still thinking to myself, right, well, I'm going to get the ball here. I can see him coming out. And everything that's happening in front of me has been slowed down. So I know that the way he closes the strikers down, he tries to get out as quickly as possible, makes himself absolutely humongous because he's a big guy.
Yeah.
But he commits himself quite early to go either bottom left, bottom right. I think his favourite side, if I'm not mistaken, was the bottom left. So I waited just the right amount of time and lifted it over him. And it managed to find its way in. But that's something that I really enjoyed doing. I really enjoyed trying to get one up on the goalkeepers because on set pieces, on corners, for example, I'll be honest, they're not shy. They're not shy. They give it to you. Oh, my God, you haven't scored. Don't worry about it. You're not going to score today. Maybe next week. Maybe next week against a crap goalkeeper, not against me.
Yeah.
So it's always one of those situations, striker against goalkeepers. And in training as well, you finish training, doing everything that you've worked on with the team, and then it was, right, you and me, 5 penalties, put a fiver on each shot. Or we'll have a couple of one-on-ones, and we'll see how you get on one-on-one against me. So it's benefiting the goalkeepers as much as it is the strikers because they're getting used to being in those pressured situations. We put a fiver on it because it's a fiver.
Yeah, it's friendly banter between.
It's friendly banter, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's something on the line.
Yeah,
we could have put 10p on it. It
Play
doesn't
for
matter. The value doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're trying to get one over on your team.
Get the bragging rights in.
Exactly. And you've got him then. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, we're bringing back the 1 to 11. So we'd love to hear your all-time played with or against 1 to 11 and your favourite manager you played against. Start with any position.
Played with
or against, manager. Up to you, manager.
So players with and against.
Just with. Mix and match, whatever. Yeah, up to you. Who stands out for you in your career in each position?
Oh my God. Number 1 goalkeeper. Pickers.
Okay.
Jordan Pickford. England number 1. I think that talks for itself, doesn't it? He's lively. I was at Preston. And he was the number 2 goalkeeper. Incidentally, he came in as number 1 and did really, really well. But he was a young boy. He wasn't shy. He wasn't shy. If somebody did something that he didn't like or wasn't happy with, he would let them know. And I think at the time he was maybe 20-ish, give or take. And he's got 30, 35-year-old centre-halves in front of him. And he let them have it. When you've got a player like that behind you, who is striving for perfection in himself, but also demands that from everybody else. It kind of fills you with a little bit of confidence. It fills you with a little bit of reassurance to know, right, well, don't worry about when the ball goes back here. He'll have it sorted out. We'll just focus on us because we don't want him to have a pop at us again.
Yeah, I think you need a big character as a goalkeeper. The best goalkeepers in history tended to be, loud and proud.
A little bit tapped.
A bit nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gareth Southgate trusts him for England,
Implicitly.
as you say, exactly. He's never put a foot wrong with England. So yeah, great pick.
But it's a close one between himself and Tim Howard.
Okay.
Again, Tim Howard, for all of the reasons that I said about Jordan. But I don't know.
He's a big guy, isn't he, Tim?
He's
big unit, or
he's about the same size as me. So yeah, massive. We'll go right back. Seamus Coleman.
Okay.
Yeah.
He signed in the window just before me, and was a young player while I was here, and he was just full of beans, enthusiastic, energetic. Diet wasn't the best back then, but he had Phil Neville and Tony Hibbert working in front of him, and he learned. I was just watching him communicating and conversing with these guys, and the questions he was asking, they weren't questions that a 20, 21-year-old should be asking senior pros. It was like, he's not thinking about the here and now. He's thinking about 5 years' time, 6 years' time, 10 years' time down the line, how we can improve and become a better player all round. So I'd say Seamus. Left back, easy one for me, Bainesy.
Yeah, he's pretty almost
easy. Leighton Baines, outrageous. What incredible pro, but even more so, an amazing person, a great person. Me being a forward, I'm up against him. I used to be up against him often. And I would do things, control the ball, set the ball, spin, or I would try and turn him, and he would stop. While the gaffer's at the other end of the pitch talking to the players, he would say to me, Bex, I know you did that, and I know you're thinking about that step, but if you try and do this instead, I think it'll work for you for your strengths. Give it a go. He's one of those players that would help me out, even though I'm directly playing against him. But again, as a football player, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Free kicks.
He had a great left foot,
great left foot on him.
He was
incredible.
I think the season you were here, he had a very good season that year, didn't he?
Yep. He set me up for my first goal as well.
Right, okay.
Against Bolton, incidentally down there.
Yeah.
The Howard Kendall, Gladys Street end. I remember he won the ball on the touchline against Fabrice Mwamba. Passed the ball into me, edge of the 18-yard box. I got my body in the way, took a first touch, whipped it top bins. Oh,
nice.
Sorry.
Like that.
Yeah.
Good.
Centre half. Centre half's a tricky one for me because there's lots of players that I've played with, but they're incredible for different reasons. Like some are ridiculous in terms of the technical ability or the physical strength, like Sylvain Distin. Who was unreal.
Rapid, wasn't he?
Yep. They used to put me against him in pre-season training, man. Flipping heck.
As he got older as well, he
got quicker.
Yeah.
He got quicker. Just seeing everything he did off the pitch. So in the gym, what he was working on, his nutrition, his sleep routine, everything was he was top draw. But I really, really enjoyed playing with Phil Jagielka. Again, he's rapid. It seems like it's a 1-11 of Everton. It's not the case. So Jags will be in there centre half, but I'll put him up with a guy called Patrick Kaznorbo. Now Paddy's in there not because of his technical abilities, although he was a good football player. He wasn't an incredible football player, but he was one of those guys that would go up for a header, get kicked in the head, blood sporting down the side of his face, strap it up, and he would keep on playing like nothing had happened. Now, I know there are things that new laws and regulations that come into place in terms of concussion, etc. But that is just a matter of me explaining what he's like as a person. Nothing would stop him
Grit.
from doing
That leadership
the
ability
grit,
is, and
the determination, the fire in the belly.
The will to
it's
win.
got to be inspiring
The
as
will
well,
to
isn't
win,
it?
yeah.
You know, seeing like your captain or your
Yeah.
centre back, they get injured and they kind of no sell it really, just like yep, everything's fine,
Yeah.
and just carry on. And you know, there's that.
Get
I
on
think
with
there's
it.
that famous picture with like is it Terry Butcher where he's got like all blood down his
Yep.
face, and you see that and you're like, he's gone to war for that
Yeah.
team. So yeah,
Paddy Kisnorbo is exactly the same. We played against Man United, and he had the exact same thing. Something happened. I don't know if it was a clash of heads or a boot to the head or something. He's strapped it up. End of the game, there's a picture of him, and he's grabbing me, and I'm looking at him like, don't get near me, you sicko. But like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
But it's a very similar picture, very similar meanings behind it as well. So I'd put him in there. Midfield, I would put Robert Snodgrass.
Yeah.
So Snods was one of my favourite players to play with because he was a madman. Just like everything he did was crazy, but technically he was fantastic. He was quick. He had a great eye for a pass, great free kick, set piece delivery.
yeah,
But he could score a nice goal as well.
Yeah.
He was constantly tricky, chopping, changing direction. But he was a naughty boy as well in terms of just finding himself getting in trouble on away trips.
oh okay, yeah,
So I remember when we were playing for Leeds, he filled up the bin, right, and rested the bin up against one of the other boys' doors, and he was new. He was new to the club, so he's just rested it like that. Knocked on the door. The lads, he's done a runner down the corridor. One of the lads opened the door. It's gone all over the place, all over his shoes, his socks, all over the carpet. And the gaffers obviously found out about it. And there was something like a 1,500 quid carpet bill.
Oh, really?
Wow, what was in the bin?
Yeah.
I thought it was water. I don't know. But, you know, he would do little things like that. Wet the back of a teaspoon and dip it in the salt and then put it back. So then when the lads go and have a cup of tea, you go,
Might have to take some notes of these.
Bit of a prankster then.
oh, he was a prankster, but it was so frustrating because nobody was safe. Nobody was safe. And it could strike at any time, you know, but he was great for the lads as well. Like when you're coming off the back of a loss and you're on the 4-hour coach journey back up from Bournemouth or somewhere,
Lift you.
he's that one that will pick you up and give you that energizing boost that you miss and you need.
Where's he playing in your midfield? Is he?
Wherever he wants.
Okay.
I don't want the drama. No, I put him wide on the left.
Okay.
I put him wide on the left. I'll put him on the right, sorry. So he could tuck in on his left. On the left, I would go for...
A few clubs to pick from, I imagine.
Yeah. Lloyd Dyer,
Okay.
Leicester City. Rapid.
I was gonna say yeah.
Like I was quick. In my time, I was quick. But Lloydie, I've never seen anybody move and shift as quickly as him. He was like Aaron Lennon. So from a standing start to top speed, he'd get there in no time at all. Absolutely lightning quick. Cool guy as well. A little bit scary, I'll be honest. A little bit intimidating. But so down to earth. When you get to know him, he's a proper nice guy. Again, I just understood his game and how to work with him and made his personal skills benefit me. So he's in there playing left wing. Let's see, centre mid. Tim Cahill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just because of his timing.
Yeah.
His timing.
He scored some big goals, and he for the club.
Oh my
Arriving into the
gosh.
box late, isn't it? And just
Mate. But like for somebody, like he's not short, don't get me wrong for a second, but for somebody that's not over 6 feet tall, his bravery, his timing of getting up and winning headers, his bravery were just, they were phenomenal, genuinely phenomenal. But
many
again,
players like him these days, really, is there? I can't think of a name now that scores the amount of goals he does in that central position.
Not really, no. Not really.
They switched the formations, really, haven't they, to like a 4-3-3, so you don't really get those attacking midfielders.
Yeah.
Declan Rice possibly
hopefully
could be that type of player.
Yeah.
Left foot, right foot, incredible in the air with his head, but great guy off the pitch as well. Let's see, who else have we got? Centre mid, Mark Davis, Bolton. During my time at Bolton, he was really unfortunate with injuries. His knee, he had really bad knees, but when he was fit, I saw him play and train for maybe about 4 or 5 months. No longer than that because of the injuries kept on creeping up on him. But he just, the way he drifted with the ball, it was like the ball was stuck to his boot. And it sounds silly, but like I'd been around and played with and against some incredible footballers. But to see him with the ball at his feet, playing with a smile on his face, I don't think I've seen anybody that kind of level. He was outrageously good.
Yeah, some players have got their own styles, haven't they? And that's one of my world-class definitions, actually. You've got to bring your own style to the game and implement it. And
that's exactly what he did. That's what he did. I'll move on to forwards. Yeah, so I'll stick with a 4-4-2. One of my favourite ever forwards to play with, Luciano Becchio, during my time at Leeds. Outrageous. So much fun to play with. He didn't know English very well when he moved from Barcelona B to Leeds United. So being a strike partner, I thought it would be a nice thing for me to do, to take him under my wing and teach him a little bit of what we do over here in England, sunny England. And I taught him a little bit of English. So, I had some fun.
All the best words, I bet.
And some. One of the best. We went out for a meal, and this must have been maybe 4 or 5 days after he moved to the UK. So his English is shocking. It's really, really bad. And I'm not going to attempt to do it before you even ask. It's not happening. But he said he showed me a picture on his phone of what he wanted, and he wanted salmon. So I was like, oh, okay, shit cake. He said, what, shit cake? I said, yes. And he went, shit cake. Okay. How do I? I said, please can I have some shit cake? Say it again. Please can I have? And he was like, okay, please can I have shit cake? And the waiter came over and said, hi guys, what would you like? I'm like, I'd like this please. And one of the other guys like, I'd like this please. And Lucci went, hi, please can I have shit cake? And the guy just looked at him like, I'm sorry, what?
You mean the salmon? Yeah.
This one,
I didn't tell him for about, I don't know, maybe a week.
I wonder how many restaurants he went into asking for shit cake.
Yeah. Pretty much all of them, I think. Oh, mate, the look he was getting. It was top drawer. Brilliant. Obviously, I've toned it down a little bit because I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
It's his favourite meal now.
Yes. Who doesn't like a shit cake?
Brilliant.
And then up top with Lucci, Louis Saha.
Oh yeah,
mate. So I watched him as a kid. My dad was a Man United fan, so I used to watch him on a regular. Well, he was at Fulham, Manchester United, Newcastle, like the French national team. The way he conducted himself, the things that he did, the way that he did them, the movements that he made, everything was methodical. It was all for a reason. Whereas a lot of players you watch, they go here just because they think that's the right thing to do. Or they don't move because they're like, I know, I've heard in the past, if I stand still, I get lots of space. You have to create your own space in different moments and different times. But watching him, I understood how to do that. It's difficult to explain, but just watching him on a regular basis, watching him on a daily basis, understanding how he became so strong, how he got his upper body strong, how he got his legs strong, and he was unbelievable to watch. So I found myself almost stalking him for the first 3 or 4 months that I was here. And it got to a point where we'd finish training and then he'd go into the gym. And I'll be in the gym in the corner just watching him. Just like that.
In the mirror.
What's he doing now? Okay, I'm gonna do that now as well. And I started doing all the same movements, but like from the other side of the machines. So he couldn't see me. And then I think it might have been Johnny Heitinger came in and grabbed me and pushed me over towards Louis and said, Louis, I caught him. I caught him. Just join in with him. It's fine. And Louis said to me, yeah, come. I'll show you how to do it properly. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Must have been amazing to play alongside him.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. I do remember, incidentally, we were here and we played against Blackpool and we beat them 5-3. He got 4 of them. And I was happy for him that he got 4. I was happy.
No, you weren't.
Where's the assist?
But he did have an opportunity to give me a goal.
Yeah.
I had an open goal. He had a defender and the goalkeeper. And instead of him passing to me, which I would have done to him, I wouldn't have. I would have gone for goal as well. He managed to score, made it, I think it was 4-3 at that time. And then Leighton Baines got the assist for the final goal. Lovely cross over the top. Me, first time volley on the left foot, over the shoulder. I mean, like,
nice.
Easy lads.
RVP.
I mean, that was good fun.
Brilliant.
Great.
Yeah, he was a great player. I remember him at Fulham, like you said, his goals were just through the roof.
Magic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I think he went to Fulham, then Manchester United, didn't he?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
That's the reason why. You could see it, you know.
You don't get a move to Man United for nothing, do you?
No. And he was, honestly, he's one of those incredible players that I've been fortunate enough to play alongside. I played alongside Tor Andre Flo, Ida Gudjonsson. Like, these guys are unreal, technically unreal, but they were closer to the end of their career. So was Louis, but he still had that powerful explosion of pace to get away from players, the great first touch, which they all had.
Injuries didn't help him, I recall, in his career.
Really
Certainly
bad
towards
hamstrings.
the end.
Bad hamstrings.
Yeah.
I think he had a skin graft as well.
Oh, right.
Like,
wow.
They had to stitch his hamstring back together. Like, it came away from his bone. Ooh. Yeah, not nice.
Too much gym work, maybe? I don't know.
Not enough.
And the manager, round it off.
For me, Simon Grayson.
Okay.
Like, I've played obviously with David Moyes. I've played under Sven-Goran Eriksson. I've had some great managers, really, really good managers that have been at the top for a number of years. Obviously, Sven, England manager. David Moyes here for over a decade and still flying at West Ham now. But I think the relationship and understanding Simon Grayson and myself had was the thing that sets him apart from a lot of the rest of them. So we ended up getting promoted together here and at Preston. Mm. But I've worked with him at Huddersfield as well. So it's kind of like he knows what to expect from me. I know what to expect from him. And when things don't necessarily go right for me on the pitch, he's not one of those managers that's just going to berate me for it and just try and belittle you in front of everybody else to make himself feel better, but also to let everybody else know the gaffer's here and he's not to be messed around with. Simon was like, don't worry about it. I know what to expect from you. So I know you'll score 2 next week. Don't worry. And that's the end of it. So
yeah, it always kind of confused me that how going through that, berating your players and putting them down is like I don't know what you gain from that. The kind of arm around the shoulder, especially a striker. Really, I think it's such a confidence-based position. Mm-hmm. You want your be like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. You got next week, and maybe have a go at your defenders or something. They take it a bit more like
take it out on them, let them get annoyed and frustrated, and then they turn around and batter the forwards.
Yeah, you go kick them out somewhere second half. But I never got that tactic. But it sounds like he was a great manager.
He was and still is. That being said, I've recently passed my UEFA B license for coaching. So I gave him a call. He was out in India. So let's see if I could get a job out there with him. Unfortunately, he got sacked on my birthday, so I was fuming. I said, all right, next one.
Yeah. We've got some questions around your coaching stuff later in the show. Cool. But we'd be interested to hear more about that.
Any of those players that you played with or in your era, world class? It's tough. It is tough.
Do you know what, right? It's tough because of what the phrase world class means, and that phrase has been thrown around left, right, and center. So it's almost lost a little bit of its shine, hasn't it? So in terms of the world class, I wouldn't say world class, no, but incredible household names. Mikel Arteta, obviously. Tim Cahill, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Jamie Vardy, like, speaks for itself, doesn't it? You know, managed to win the Premier League with Leicester City against all odds. Got the record of scoring the most goals, most consecutive goals.
13 games, I think.
13 on the trot.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable.
And some brilliant goals as well.
Great goals, honestly. I think there was one against Arsenal, wasn't there?
Ah, don't tell me that.
I know.
That one against Liverpool, actually, at Leicester, where he lobbed the keeper from about, I don't know, maybe 35 yards out. It was just unreal, just an instinctive shot.
I was saying run him.
Yeah.
I'm saying run him, because he could outpace anybody.
Right.
He's rapid.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And he's still sharp now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, 55 years old, he's still sharp.
Yeah.
No, he's a top lad. He's a top lad.
Yeah. What's he like? He comes across, like, from like clips we see, as a bit of a prankster as well. Is he always up to mischief behind the scenes?
He's always up to something. You've got to keep your eyes on him. But he's one of those people that hasn't changed. Like, I saw him a couple of weeks, about 5 weeks ago. And again, from the time we played together up until then, not much has changed with him. Like, he's still the same guy. He's still a little bit bonkers, but like, when you get past the crazy, tough exterior, he's a cool guy. He's just down to earth. He's just a lad, one of the lads.
Boys, like,
I think that's part of his similar journey to you, really. The grounding he's had to come through to the top. Yeah.
£1 million from Fleetwood Town. The first £1 million player, I think it was, in the league at that time.
All right,
That's when he came over to Leicester with me. Top man. If anybody else was going to replace me, I would have been fuming. But Jamie, I don't mind.
Yes. Well, yeah. Talking about your starting playing career, you started at Wealdstone, and then you was also working for the RAC as well.
Great
and
times.
Then, I was just thinking, how important is that? Because obviously you went on to, Premier League star, scoring at Old Trafford, all these like massive things in your careers. But having that kind of like base grounding of doing that at the start of your career, did that kind of help when it comes to like, all like the big money contracts and, playing in stadiums like here and at Wembley and things? Was that like important in your story? Like, how important
For me and my journey, yes. But I also understand that not everybody has the same upbringings or scenario situations arise in their lives that I've had in mine, and vice versa. So, whatever's worked in the past for me may not work for one of you guys, or vice versa, So I do know that having the understanding of not everything is going to go your way every single time, I think from that perspective, it's absolutely worked wonders for me. Like, I was at Chelsea's academy when I was 15. I got released, done my Achilles, and I remember going back into school, incidentally, about a week later after I'd been released from Chelsea as a 15-year-old, year 11. And somebody said to me, "Oh, it's Thursday night. You're going to training with Chelsea today. What are they going to do? Physio work?" I was like, no, I've been released. 15 years old. They all laughed at me and said, he's crap. It's because he's rubbish. It's because he's this. It's because he's that. And having to deal with it from that rejection and that level of heckling from a young age kind of helped me in my semi-pro career, playing for Wealdstone, finishing work at RAC, starting work at RAC at 8 o'clock in the morning, finishing at 6 o'clock in the evening, and then from 6 o'clock drive straight from my last job to the training ground, train, get changed in the back of the van, train. It was great fun. I had a free fuel card as well, so like
yeah.
Handy.
Yeah, very. Like, they didn't cut it off for a while after I started playing pro as well. I was buzzing, mate, honestly.
Yeah, lads, fill your cars up.
Pretended not to forget,
I was like, no, this is great. Can I pop this on the card, please? Yeah. Oh, it's rejected. Oh, so that's all right, I'll use this one.
Good times are gone.
Great times are gone, yeah. But going from all of that and then training getting changed, and then after I finished training, back into my RAC uniform, had a shower, obviously, I'm not a dirty boy. And then going back to work on call, that kind of let me know, look, if you end up playing professional football, which has always been my dream, then it's a touch. You've been blessed. If not, mate, don't worry about it. You're still doing what you love to do, what you enjoy doing. This is my life. I'm happy. I'm happy in my life. But then I remember I was enjoying life. I was enjoying playing football for Wealdstone. I was enjoying working at RAC. And then my manager, Gordon Bartlett for Wealdstone, said to me, look, I've got somebody that wants to talk to you because there's a couple of clubs starting to sniff around you, professional clubs, if you're interested. I was like, come on, mate.
Oh, I don't know. I'm busy this weekend.
Where is he?
Fuel card?
Yeah. Will I get free fuel card? So I remember speaking to the guy, and he said, look, Yeovil Town are interested in taking you. And Yeovil were in League 2, I think they were at the time.
I'm from that area.
Are you? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry about that. I'm joking.
I think they were in League 2. League 2
They were
at the time?
League 2, yeah.
Yeah.
2005-6 season.
Yeah.
So
I think they were on the way up.
They were on the way up.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and I was like, do you know what? I quite like the idea of that. It's not too far from London, but it's far enough away that it will kind of give me an opportunity to really focus and hone in on my skills and knuckle down, stop all the partying because nothing happens in Yeovil. And
I can confirm it doesn't.
That's the last one, I
He's
promise.
digging you out yet.
Oh well.
Just the subtleties,
I'll
I'm
take
sorry.
it.
And it would give me an opportunity to live my dreams. Like, to play professional football was always that's been one of my earliest dreams. I can't think of an earlier dream that I've ever had.
Yeah.
So I was heading to Yeovil in my RAC van, and I had the A3 maps, the massive A3 maps. So I remember getting my bright yellow highlighter and mapping out the route on the map. I got about halfway, if not even halfway, down to Yeovil, and then I got a phone call saying from my agent, so to speak, saying Charlton, Crystal Palace and Watford want to take you on trial.
Oh, wow.
They're all in the Championship. I think Charlton possibly might have been in the Premier League. I'm not sure. What do you want to do? I was like, handbrake. Spin it around. Yeah. So I headed back over. I had a trial at Charlton first, and I was rubbish. Genuinely rubbish. Like, it's the worst I've ever played.
Yeah.
Then I went to Crystal Palace for 4 days, and that went really well. Played 2 behind closed doors games, scored a couple of goals, really enjoyed myself, got on well with the lads, but just wasn't what they needed at the time, which is fine. It's a polite way of saying, no, sorry, you're still shit. No problem.
I've had it plenty of times with jobs.
Yeah. And then I went to Watford, and I was supposed to be there for a week with Adi Brufroyd. And he said to me, look, whatever happens, if you're good, great. If you're poor, don't worry about it. Just enjoy yourself. You're here for a week. We'll have a chat at the end of the week, and then we'll talk about your progress, how you can improve, whether that's here or somewhere else. But we want to help you move forward. So I was like, mate, this is great, perfect. Day one training went really well, to be fair. Enjoyed myself. I say went really well. It went better than Charlton.
Right,
It's
okay,
not
yeah.
hard. Give myself probably about a 7 out of 10. Okay. Room for improvement, but I like to think I did enough. Yeah. Got a phone call, finished training, and Adi Boothroyd pulled me into the office afterwards and said, right, I want to offer you a contract now. So I'm
What was
can
that
you call your
feeling
agent?
like?
Surreal. It was just like, I thought it was a prank. Genuinely, I thought he was having me on. So I'm sitting in the office, and I'm on the phone to to the guy that's representing me. Adi Brufroyd's left, and the room must have been possibly about the same size as this, maybe a little bit smaller than this. And he's answered the phone. He said, "Hi, Jermaine, how's it going?" I said, "Mate, they want to offer me a contract. This is crazy. I can't believe it. My dreams. And he went, "That is amazing news. Congratulations. I've got some more news for you if you want it." He said, "Leeds United want to sign you, but with no trial. Wow. They just want to sign you." I was like, "What?" So looking at the league table, Watford were third in the Championship. Leeds were fourth in the Championship. Or the other way around. No, Leeds were fourth, Watford were third. I was like, mate, this is crazy. Sitting to myself, I was thinking to myself, right, what do I do here? Because this is one of those moments, a sliding doors moment. I could stay at Watford, live in London, which is 20 minutes away from the training ground. I don't have to move house. I could literally stay where I am. I will still have the same friendship circles. I will still have the same situations and scenarios going on around me. I'm in a team that's on the up. They're in the playoffs. There's only 12, 13 games left of the season. So, it's looking really, really good for them to get promoted, be in the playoffs at least, and possibly get promoted. Or I could leave London, go up to Leeds and have a clean slate, a clean break away from absolutely everything. All of the distractions, all of the friends or people that I thought were friends initially, but were only trying to cling on for one reason or another, for their own personal gains, I guess.
And one other thing, I guess.
What was the other thing?
Fuel card, free fuel.
I mean, that was going nowhere. I think that might still be at my mum's house, honestly. So I phoned my dad and I said to him, look, I've got these options. What do you think? And he said, the decision's yours. Pros and cons for Watford, nice and local. You'll be around everybody you know, everything's familiar. Leeds, you know nobody. What will that do for you? I said, well, I wouldn't be able to do anything because I don't know anyone. He said, oh, okay. And what would that do? I said, well, it would make me think and focus on what I'm supposed to do, which is live out my dreams. He said, oh, okay. So what do you want to do? I said, I want to go to Leeds. In a nutshell. So I remember speaking to Adi Buford. He came in about 10 minutes later. Got all the contracts and all that sort of situation sorted out. He said, right, how far away is your representative? I said, he's not going to make it. Leeds United want to sign me and I want a clean break. And he said, do you know what? From a personal perspective, I think that's a great move, great idea. You've done well there. From a manager's perspective, I hope you fail. In not so many words, but he was fine about it. He was fine about it afterwards. But do you know what was mad, right? I ended up playing for Leeds. We both got to the playoff final, Watford and Leeds, in Cardiff.
In Cardiff, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 3-0 Watford?
Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't even on the bench. I was fuming. But I remember seeing Adi Buford afterwards, obviously on the in the tunnel afterwards, and he said to me, "Told you."
Ruthless.
Didn't need to do that.
That was it.
It's business.
No contracts on the table then.
So about that contract, AD.
But the great thing for me on a personal level was, even though we didn't go up to the Premier League that year, which would have been amazing, don't get me wrong, I wasn't ready for it anyway. I wasn't ready for it. I needed to find myself. I needed to find my level initially so that I was able to grow and prosper. So I ended up going out on loan a couple of times the following season to Carlisle first, which didn't go great, but I did score my first ever professional goal, which I was buzzing about. But the second loan spell to Scunthorpe, who again, similar to Yeovil, were a team on the up. They were full of confidence, full of young players, hungry players. Nigel Adkins was the gaffer as well, and he was just like, this is the perfect place for you to be right now. This is where you need to be right now. Let's go and have some fun. So went there, scored 8 goals in 17 games roughly. Scored goal of the season, which a lot of people still talk about now, and got promoted. On the negative side of that period of time during my life, Leeds got relegated from Championship to League One. So, I've already conquered League One with Scunthorpe. Now I'm going to conquer it again with Leeds United, and that was what I needed at that time. It's incredible, man.
Yeah. So
You have to pull me. You have to rein me back in.
No,
this
is great. This is great. This is great.
It's flow.
It actually leads great into our next question, just around the transfers. So obviously, you went to Leeds. You had you spent your time there, but then you had your opportunity then to come to here to Everton.
Yeah.
It must have been a bit of a dilemma because you got Leeds promoted, playoff final, and then it's like, do I stay in the Championship, or you got that big that kind of fish waiting for you to go and take your opportunity in the Premier League. So it must have been a bit of a dilemma. How was that for you, kind of having to step away from Leeds and take your chance really at top flight?
Do you know what was mad, right? I wanted to sign a new contract at Leeds, but there was no contract on the table. Like, not even a reduced terms, just no contract at all. And I'd just come off the back of 3 firing seasons as well. I think I managed to get something like 85 goals over 3 seasons.
Mm.
So I'm looking at it from a perspective of, right, well, I've managed to score X amount of goals and do this, that, and the other. We finally got promoted. It's taken a little while to get promoted, but finally managed to get there. Contract. Where's the contract? I just want a contract because I'm comfortable here. I'm happy. I'm at home. This is my new surroundings. I'm familiar with literally every single part of Leeds. Not just the football club, the city, Yorkshire now as well.
You're banging goals in, aren't you? And you want to carry banging goals in.
Do you know what the thing is, right? If I had another contract with Leeds for the following season, I think we would have been promoted back to back because we had everything set and ready to go. We had the confident players. We had the tough defenders, the creative midfield players, the forwards, the really tricky wide players, great goalkeepers, fantastic manager. We had everything set and ready. And there's only been, maybe 2 other teams, I think, that have been promoted back to back.
I think Norwich did it one year. Yeah. And Ipswich maybe this year. They're doing well.
They're not doing badly, are they?
Yeah.
They're not doing badly at all. I know.
Maybe in the playoffs, I think they'll be out with the top 2, but
yeah,
like a good cup side, if you get me, they'll turn up on the day. So I think they'll get in.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So I've gone from that, not having a contract offer, to at Leeds, to having to figure out, right, shit, I've got to do something here. And I know Everton was sniffing around. I know West Ham was sniffing about. There were 1 or 2 other Premier League clubs and a few from overseas as well, Benfica, Braga, which would have been great experiences, But at the time, I just don't think I was mentally ready for the overseas move. Having had a chat with David Moyes and Steve Round is number 2, and I had a phone call from Phil Neville. I bumped into Victor Anichebe a few times. Just listening to those guys speak about this football club, speak about the fan base, speak about what it means to the city. It was so close to what Leeds United was. The similarities were uncanny. There's so many parallels. So I just said, you know what? That is an incredible football club, and one I'd be honoured to represent if I get the opportunity to. So final game of the season came, managed to captain the side out, went a man down, 1-0 down. I'm the captain. This is supposed to be my swan song, so to speak. And everything's going against us. Pulled one back. Johnny Howson scored a great goal, and then the ball fell to me with about 20, 30 minutes to go. Buried it. 2-1 up at Ellen Road. Won the game. I'm buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. Fans are all on the pitch going nuts. And I'm in the moment. I'm enjoying the moment, but I'm also thinking to myself, this is my last moment as a Leeds player. Mm-hmm. I want to try and savor it as much as possible, but I also don't want to forget any elements, any aspects of this. I love this, man. I wonder what's going to happen next. And then I got a phone call about half an hour later, after the carnage had died down a little bit in the changing rooms. And it was my agent, and he said to me, right, we've agreed everything with Everton. Is it yes or is it no?
Wow.
That's literally, I'm in the change rooms as well.
Yeah.
With everybody celebrating around me, the music's blaring, it's it's madness. Yes or no? So I'm thinking, if I say yes and then the chairman walks in and he's like, I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
Here's a contract. You know, I'm a man that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. My word is my bond, you know. So I'm not going to go back on that. I spoke to the gaffer briefly. I said, look, what's the possibilities? What are the chances of me getting a contract from the chairman? And he's like, slim to none. I don't know why.
Strange.
So I was like, it's a yes from me. But again, look, it makes it sound like it's one of those situations that was forced upon me. It wasn't at all. But when you've been at a club for 4.5 years and you know everybody by first name, you know families, like, and I don't mean the players or the playing staff or the coaches. I mean like dinner ladies and security guards and all the guys and girls in the offices and accounts. Like, I know them all. They're all extended family, you know?
Yeah.
So when you're going from a situation like that where it's so close-knit, you don't want to leave that. Yeah. But something similar happened when I came here. It was everybody from behind the scenes became family, an extended family all over again. So the situations, everything that I learned while I was at Leeds, I managed to bring here. But I also took a lot of information from here and situations and take them elsewhere. So it was an amazing place, an amazing football club for me. And it gave me my dream as well of being able to call myself a Premier League football player, you know, playing in the best league in the world with and against some of the best players and managers that the game has ever encountered. Yeah. Like I remember we played Chelsea away and somebody was injured on the far side of the pitch and I came over to the touchline and I'm talking to David Moyes about something and I glanced over to my left and Jose Mourinho was just looking at me. He went like that. Just gave me a little wink and I was thinking, hey, this is Jose. This is Jose. I was going to ask him, hey, come beside me, man.
I
wouldn't do that. It's Chelsea. I wouldn't do that. I can't do that. But like, mate, when you've got situations like that, just pinch yourself moments. Rafa Benitez, when we go to Anfield, like that was crazy as well. Like I managed to score in the Merseyside derby over at Anfield to make it 2-1 to us.
What was that feeling like walking around Liverpool afterwards after scoring Merseyside derby?
Oh my God.
Did he pats on the backs?
It was nuts. I'll be honest with you, it was nuts. So I do remember. Like I like to think of myself as quite grounded, right? So I don't like to surround myself with too many people too often. I like to be my own person and do my own thing. But I do remember once I scored in the Merseyside derby and went out for something to eat, I noticed a bunch of boys and like they were chilling out with the big jackets on and one of them had a little strip of red on him. So I was a little bit cautious initially. I was like, oh shit. But like I just carried on doing my own thing and the spider senses are tingling all over the place. And one of them said, Beckford. I was like,
here we go.
Yes. He went, that was a good goal.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was thinking to myself, oh, thank God for that, man, because that could have been so much worse.
I know, yeah. We didn't actually go into probably one of your, what must have been one of the highlights for you is that goal at Old Trafford. I think it was Kaminsky in goal, and you cleaned through, and then you just kind of slid it behind him. And was there any doubt in your minds? Because it was going in.
Doubt? What is doubt? No,
in that situation.
Nah,
Really,
no way.
Yeah.
What people from the outside fail to realise and understand is when you're a professional football player, you practice 1,000 different types of shots, 1,000 different types of situations and scenarios that arise when you're in front of goal. So I've been in that situation 1,000 times prior. Yeah. I've had the ball at the edge of the 18-yard box 1,000 times. I've had the ball on the edge of the 6-yard box 1,000 times. I've practiced every single type of shot, cross, header, flick, trick, overhead kick, everything, thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Now, sometimes it doesn't come off. Sometimes it doesn't. It's just human nature, physics, call it what you want. But other times it does. And when it does come off, you see magic. You know, you see Wayne Rooney overhead kick against Man City, magic. You see Gianfranco Zola, free kicks for Chelsea, against Arsenal, pinging off the bar, magic. You see Dennis Bergkamp bringing the ball down for Holland.
Over
the shoulder, magic.
Second time he did that as well, wasn't it?
Henry, magic.
Yeah.
But these boys have practiced every single one of these shots and opportunities and chances multiple times, multiple thousands of times. So the confidence is there regardless of scoring, saving, missing the target altogether. The confidence is always there. So I was always confident.
Yeah, it was a great goal, and just watching it back, just doing a bit of prep before the hand. I was watching towards the end of the game, and I think they had at one stage Rooney, Owen, and Berbatov trying to get the game. I was like,
it's not a bad forward line, is it? I think the boys have got a chance, haven't they?
Yeah. So
they could make it.
You dug in deep, but that must have been sweet being the match winner at Old Trafford.
Oh
and
my God.
A validation of I can do it at the highest level, which obviously you went on to prove at Everton.
Do you know what? It was crazy, right? Because I didn't realise the magnitude of that rivalry beforehand. Mm-hmm. But in the lead up to when we were on the coach going into Old Trafford, getting off the coach and then just hearing the hostility and feeling the atmosphere so tense, and oh my word, you soon come to grips and get a grasp of what it means, not just to your fans but to the opposition fans as well. Don't forget, I think at the time we were 2 divisions below them, and they just come off the back of winning the Premier League title. They're in the Champions League. They've got all these world-class players playing for them.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of arrogance that crept in on their part. They're like, League One Leeds. We'll batter them.
No, and
we
a
don't
few
even have to focus
United
about
fans, they definitely had that under Fergie, I think.
Yeah.
That we'll win no matter what.
Just need to show up.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like my old man, he used to be a Man United fan as well. So where the dugout is, I got him tickets about 10 or so rows behind at Old Trafford. So when I've scored in the Stretford end and I've circled around and celebrated, I've kind of seen him and he's gone, yeah, shit. all in equal measure.
Yeah.
So it's like
every emotion.
Every emotion passed through his body in no time at all. But
that's what football does to you.
He didn't speak to me for a week.
So you're at Everton now,
in
our conversation. Then 2010-2011 season, 10 goals, no comps. Everton finished 7th that season.
Not bad.
If Wikipedia is true.
Yeah.
Great season.
It was incredible. Yeah. Again, like I said, it was always a lifelong dream of mine to play in the Premier League. But when I had the chance to play for Everton in the Premier League, a club rich in history, as rich in history as this football club, and to have seen what it meant to every single one of these football fans. Like I came here in the back end of 2008-9 season, so the season before my contract had run out at Leeds, but only because my agent was representing one of the other players that was playing against Everton at the time. So he said, I've got a spare ticket if you fancy it. Being a football fan, I'm like, mate, as long as I don't have to pay for a ticket, I'm good to go. So we came here and we were sitting not too far from, we were sitting almost behind Beam B. So it's the second one there.
Right.
And I remember watching and just listening and taking in the whole atmosphere and hearing how loud the fans were and how passionate they were. And they were behind the team. The team went 1-0 down. Oh, a couple of groans. But then after about 15 seconds, they just jumped back on the bandwagon and every single one of the fans gave the players everything they needed. The team ended up winning 2-1. I can't remember who it was against. I wish I could remember. They ended up winning the game 2 or 3-1. I think it was 2-1. But just hearing that and feeling that atmosphere and feeling that energy, that was like, wow. That was a wow moment for me.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So when you got the chance to represent a team like that, mate, it was a no-brainer.
You moved to Leicester after one season. From an outsider's perspective, it looks like you had a really good season. 8 Premier League goals, 10 in all competitions. how did the Leicester move come about? Because you were saying just before we started shooting that it was a little bit last minute getting into the club. Was there part of you that wanted to try and stay and fight for your place at Everton?
Yes. Yeah, of course. But I think the biggest thing for me at the time was I played roughly about 52, 54 games for Leeds the season before I came here. And then I didn't play that many when I was here, maybe 24-ish, give or take. And being somebody that just loves football, I want to play football all the time. Right. All the time. And having had a couple of conversations with David Moyes and a few other people, it was made clear to me that my game time wouldn't be... it was frustrating because I wasn't going to be afforded as much or more game time. So for me, I just wanted to make sure that I was playing football. Yeah. Like I know from being a football fan, players are lucky to play for 10 years. Really, really lucky to play for 10 years. And then they're just forgotten about. And I don't want to be forgotten about, but at the same time, I want to enjoy what I'm doing because I know it's a short career. And I've come into it really late. I was 22 when I started playing professional football for Leeds. Yeah. You know, a lot of the guys now, 15, 16, 17 years old, if they're lucky, you know. Yeah. One of my friends, Neil Dans, his son, Jaden, has played a couple of times for Liverpool's first team in the Premier League and the Europa League. Carabao Cup. Yeah. And he scored his first professional goal already. He's only, 16, 17? Yeah. So, you know, when you look at it from that perspective and then you take everything that I've seen and been through in my life, I'm 26, 27 while I was here. I wanted to make the most of being a football player. I wanted to literally play football.
Every minute you can.
Every minute I can. Yeah. And Leicester offered me that opportunity.
Yeah. I suppose the manager would have been a big draw as well, Sven-Goran Eriksson.
Oh my God, mate, what a man. What a man. On-field. What a man. His off-field stuff is, you know, it's well documented. However, when you watch him and listen to him and just see how he conducts himself on a regular basis in training, like he's so softly spoken when he's in interviews, he's exactly the same off the pitch. He'll walk in here now and he'll be exactly the same. But I just feel that's why it didn't quite work out for him at Leicester, because he said, look, he didn't push us enough. He was the master motivator. He's incredible. Like he's great at picking you up. You're losing 1-0. My friend, don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. Everything will work out. It's meant to be. 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. It's okay. Maybe next time. Which is great for some people, but every now and then you do need a little bit of a rocket, and it's like just didn't quite have
maybe
that.
Maybe not the right blend of players. Some need that rocket up there.
Yeah.
Some need the arm around the shoulder, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I ended up going there, and it was frustrating because he said to the owners that he was going to be in the playoff positions on a certain amount of points after like 10 games of the season, roughly. And we got to 10 games of the season and we were 1 point and 1 place outside of where he said he was going to be. And then he got the chop. Oh, mate.
Brutal.
Wow. Mate. I've been there 5 games. I was like, oh, damn it. I didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
But that's just football. That's just football. You know, I've seen players sign for a manager, play 1 game, and then the manager gets sacked. You know, so I was fortunate enough to work with him for a short amount of time, and I enjoyed it. You know?
Yeah, enjoyed it. Good. Well, just talking about your club game, you did actually get called up for Jamaica national side. Made 6 appearances.
Yep.
Scored 1 goal. Did do my research against USA. Yep. What was that time like for you, and what was the experience like scoring at an international level? It's a different feeling to score at a club level. A prouder moment.
The experience of representing Jamaica in the World Cup qualifiers is outrageous. Don't get me wrong for a second. Like some of the experiences, some of the stadiums that I've been to, I played football in Panama, Honduras, Costa Rica, Mexico. Like, it's nuts. Like the atmosphere over there is something completely different to what we're used to. Genuinely, they've got fireworks that don't pass health and safety regulations. I know that for a fact.
Flares,
because they shouldn't make the sounds they made. It sounded like a rocket went off, man. Flipping scared the life out of me, honestly. But just watching international players, Chicharito, Tim Cahill, Clint Dempsey, loads of these incredible football players that I'd been fortunate enough to play with and against in the Premier League. I get to see them in their home countries. Wilson Palacios as well.
Marquez, a couple written down
Marquez,
here. Jimenez.
Yep, Raul Jimenez, Mexico.
Stuart Holden, Tim Howard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stu wasn't playing. He did his
injuries.
But he was at Bolton with me. And he's, again, it's very difficult to find a football player that is an arsehole. And he's not one of them. He's a top lad. Even though he was going through some really tricky and difficult times with his injuries, he was still a glass half full kind of person. He was just always full of energy, he was the life of the party. And he works in media now over in the States, and you can see the energy that he exudes. He's fantastic, you know. But those experiences for the national team for me were amazing, but they would have been better if the manager played me in a forward position. I remember my first training session, and he was a new guy, and he said, right, defenders here, midfield here, forwards here. So I stood over there, and he went, no, you defender. I said, mate, I've scored 140 goals. I'm not a defender. And he went, oh my God, I need defender. You're a big guy, defender. I said, mate, if you want me to play defender, I'll be a defender, but I can promise you one thing. I'm going to be shit.
I'll get forwards. Yeah.
So it would have been better if we'd had a little bit more organisation. It was really unorganised, really unorganised. The football, I remember the training pitch, one of the first training sessions, had drain covers, and the drain covers were about so big, right? Big ones. And I remember running down the wing, cutting in onto my right foot, and then one of the boys goes, starts screaming. And I turn around and his leg is down the drain cover, down the drain hole, because it's not got a cover over the top of it. I was like, mate, are you joking? And then I started focusing on the pitch. Like, these are things you don't think about looking for.
Yeah.
I started looking, and there's a hole on that one. There's a hole over there. I'm thinking, mate, if I broke my leg or something, what does that do?
Yeah.
So
I guess you were bringing that professional outlook.
Trying to.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to. We had a good mixture of the Jamaican-born players and the foreign-born players, myself falling into that category. Wes Morgan, Gareth McCleary, Chris Humphreys, Marlon King. We had quite a few, Lloyd Doyley. We had quite a few players that had played in the Premier League Championship as well, who understood the different levels that are required. And some of the conversations we had when we were over there with the physios, with the managers, and we're saying, guys, we need proper tape to strap the ankles up. You can't use duct tape. Like, it doesn't work like that. You know? Just some of the experience was just bonkers. And I do wish that it was a bit more professional in that aspect, but at the same time, from where it was when I was there to where it is now, obviously you haven't still speak to a lot of the guys.
Yeah,
it's come on leaps and bounds. So I like to think that because of some of the conversations that we've had during my time there, we've helped them to get on the right path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot more of Premier League players as well playing for them now, like Bobby Decordova-Rivas, one that's gone over,
Leon Bailey.
Leon Bailey. Yeah. So it is stepping up in professionalism, and I don't think it'll be too long before they start qualifying for major tournaments.
Definitely.
Do you remember your goal that you scored in particular?
Of course I do. Tim Howard was in goal. Of course I remember it.
Yeah.
Do you know what? So we had a free kick on the far side of the pitch, and I remember Clint Dempsey was marking me. I don't know why, right? But he kept on pulling me and grabbing me, and I threw an elbow at his ribs. He turned around and he was like, you doing, cuz? Like, he started speaking like, man, I was like, oh, sugar. Sorry, my friend. Tim Howard came over and said, right, Clint, it's fine, he's fine. He went, he's not fine, man, he's an asshole, man. Like, he didn't like me, just from that. But I remember I caught eyes with who was taking a free kick. I can't remember who it was now. And I gave him another little nudge. And he looked at me, and as he looked at me, I made my movement in front of him. The ball came over, nodded it in. A little glancing header, far post, it went in. I was absolutely over the moon, man. Yeah. Over the moon. And he saw me on the next set piece. So once I scored and celebrated with the fans, the ball's gone back to the centre circle, and he's taking kickoff. And he looks at me and goes, fair enough.
You did, yeah.
You got me.
Yeah. Distracted him just long enough.
And this is part of the World Cup qualification?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We didn't qualify.
You got through
was
to
frustrating.
The next round, I think.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. But
some great teams there, though, I imagine.
Yeah, I know. But it was annoying because we had the players we had that we representing us. If we were given the opportunity to play our games, we would have qualified without an issue. But because they wanted to bring in all of the homegrown players to appease the locals, it was detrimental to us. And that was the most frustrating part because without sounding disrespectful, they weren't up to the level that was required to represent your national side. And it was to the detriment of us qualifying.
Even if you did have 11 players who played football in England, the other 11 players homegrown, they would have had so much
they could have learned
away
a lot from us,
from spending that time, in a major tournament. That would have been a massive experience. So
Do you know what was bizarre, right? So I was one of the players that was taken out of the one of the playoff games, and the guy that I was replaced by, the year before he'd been shot a couple of times. He's got like a bullet hole wound in his cheek, and he was playing for the local side. And literally every week they get into a fight. I mean, it's different. The really, really annoying thing was he bloody scored, didn't he? So I'm sitting on the bench. I'm like, this guy is rubbish. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! It broke a little bit of me out, mate. I'm telling you.
Great memories, I bet. Yeah.
Some incredible ones.
Yeah. And that's it for part 1, guys. If you like that, join us for episode 2. We'll be talking with Jermaine Beckford about the current game and the season so far. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll get back to you.